Hey gamers, how are you today? Welcome to this new tutorial about how to make and paint your miniatures bases. This is a really easy step, and this is actually base making at the beginner level, so anyone can do it. And the base we're gonna do today is this kind of base, which is the standard. As you can see, it looks much better than if you don't paint your base. So yeah, here we go. As you can see, it's really easy. There's only some static grass, some sand and some rock pieces, and your miniature will look much better like this. Okay, so what the thing you're gonna need for making your bases? Well, you will need a miniature, of course. You also need some paints, any kind of acrylic paints will do. You'll need some PVA glue or white glue, some modeling sand or any kind of sand that you can find, and you will also need some static grass, which you can find also in hobby stores or modeling stores. And also for a detail, we're gonna use some cork pieces like this one. So I'll give you time to gather your material, and we're gonna start with making a simple base. Okay, now you are ready to start. So the first thing we're gonna do is to add the details, like the bigger rocks or anything you want to add to your base. So in this instance, I have some things I just skip when I'm doing modeling, like little parts of bits, some cork. I even keep those little things that when you drill a hole in your miniature, this came out. You never know what can you use for details. So in this case, we're gonna use some cork, a little piece of cork like I showed you before. So you're gonna take some white glue with a really old brush that you use only for glue, and you're gonna put some of the white glue where you want the piece of rock or piece of bigger detail to be. Oops. Then just take it and place it on the glue, obviously. Like so. And we're gonna put a smaller one over here. Let's see, here. I didn't water down the glues because I want it to be more thick so that it can stick really well to the rock. I mean to the cork. That will be a rock later on. It's just a matter of painting it then. Like so. Don't worry about the white glue showing, because first when it dries clear, and next we're gonna paint it anyway, so it won't show. So there you have. Just wait until it dries now. Okay? So now that the glue is dried, we're going to paint the cork to make it look like rock, actually. So as you can see, we cannot see the white glue almost. It dries clear, so that's not a problem. But anyway, we're going to paint it so it won't show at all. So I'm gonna use German grey, but you can use any dark grey that you have. This is no rule to follow exactly. Just use a dark grey to make the base color for your rocks. And you can use this for any kind of rock that you make, even if you're making some terrain or any kind of rock, even a bigger rock on the miniature, like I did for instance for this one, for the Sergeant. I use the same technique to make the base on the rock. So we're going to paint the cork, all of it, in this dark grey that you're using. Don't worry about painting the base too at the same time, because we're gonna make another base color for the base later on. So if you accidentally paint over the base, just don't worry. Okay, this one too. I watered down a little bit my paint so that it can flow really well into the details. Just a drop of water with a drop of paint, just to make it more easy to get into all those details. As you can see, I wasn't careful at all painting this rock. As you can see, I paint all over the base, just to show you that it's no problem at all if that happens, because we're gonna do later on, like I already say, another coat of on the base. So don't worry if that happens. So now we just let it dry, and we're going to do the next step. So now the first coat for the rocks is dried. So now we're going to dry brush a lighter green. In this case I'm going to use German grey mixed with pale grey blue, and I'm gonna mix 1:1 of those two colors, and then I'm gonna dry brush. If you don't know what dry brushing is, you take some paint, then you take most of it out of the brush, and then you just pass through the object like this. Okay, that will be enough because it's little rocks only. Hope you can see that, but that makes some highlights and shadows on the rocks, so it looks even more realistic. Then the light one will be only, in my case, grey blue, just a little bit, again dry brushing it and just making some highlight points, not too much, just for example the point of the rock, the edge, some of the edge, like this. There we go. There. And that's it. You have your rocks done. Easy step. And again, for bigger works you can do the same thing. This is just a little bit so you don't see it very well, but believe me, they look like rocks. Okay, so now you just have to wait a little more for this to dry again. Okay, now the rocks are dry, we don't touch them anymore, so we're gonna make a base color for the base. Kinda awkward to say that, but yeah. So the base color in this case will be a brown, a darker brown. In this case I'm using this color from Cedar. Okay, but any brown will do just fine. Try to use a dark brown instead of a light, so you can have more of a base color effect. So, but again, if you're doing, for example, concrete theme or style, I mean, just use gray, or if you're using like a desert, you know, effect, use yellow or darkly yellow. So now what you're gonna do is just paint the base, but be careful not to paint the feet of your miniature and also the rocks that we just paint. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do that, but it's not easy to talk and actually to talk in a different language and doing that, but as it is a simple step, this is not too difficult for me. For this example, if this happens, for example, you paint on the side of the base, you have two solutions: or you paint the whole side of the base in brown, some people like to do that, or in green, or whatever the color you are using, or don't worry, like all the mistakes, they can be undone. So later on, for example, me, I'm using black sides on my bases. So yeah, because I paint them after the work is done, I paint them so all those mistakes will not be seen again. Okay, as you can see, it's really easy to do. Just take your time. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that, but I have the TV on, so there is some background noise. I hope you don't mind. Okay, so sometimes you have some odd parts if you glue the rock too close to the feet, but anyway, even if you paint on the feet, don't panic, because for example here a little bit of paint on the feet of this orc, but you can still correct those mistakes after. Okay. Anyway, this is gonna be filled with the sand, so this is just actually we paint this base color to make sure that when you put the sand after, you'll be, how can you say that, you will not see the black under the sand. If for example some of the sand didn't got stick on the base, at least you have this base color, so it will not show when you look at the miniature. Okay, so there you are. Easy steps, just be careful is around the rocks and around the feet, and there you go. Okay, as you can see, I paint all the base in this basic color of brown. So now again we have to wait for that to to dry, or use a hair dryer like I'm using, but I'm gonna do it off camera.